Today, we are actually going to talk Steel City Con and some pickups and actually a trade on another item on Tom Was Here. Hi everyone! Tom Was Here, back at it with another video, and this time we are talking Steel City Con. I have done several Steel City Con videos in the past. I haven't found a great way to present them other than showing pictures of kind of, people and events. I never really talked about the con itself. I know several other people have done videos and associated with this. But let's talk Steel City Con for June of 2021. Now first, the con today was the busiest I had ever seen it. And this is the first time that I felt that it has outgrown the Monroeville Convention Center. And feel free in the comments to back me up on that. It has outgrown the Monroeville Convention Center. Now, let's be fair. This is the first con after 2020 into 2021. They've delayed this con several times and the lineup has changed several times. So people are looking for an outlet. They're looking to get out. They're looking to, go to like a Comic-Con. They've missed it for a long time. And so a lot of people, now this is Saturday, it's a busy day, but there were a lot of people in the Monroeville Convention Center today. I'm talking elbow to elbow. Like it was jam sardine packed. And to be fair, that's a good kudos to Steel City because they put together a great lineup. And my concern with Steel City moving forward is August, of which I have the information in here, has the chance to be even busier, which makes me almost want to go on a different day, like a Friday or a Sunday, just because it was jam-packed busy. So, let's see a couple of the things that we picked up at Steel City Con. Now, we'll start with, and one thing you should know about cons, or at least the way that I handle cons and the way that I've handled cons for a long time, truth be told, and this may come as a surprise to some of you people that watch my back wall and my unboxing videos and my other stuff, is that I actually did not start collecting autographs really, fully, truly, until about July, August of 2020. I did have a few. The Burt Reynolds that you saw in some of my early unboxing videos, I had that. A few of these ones were actually from Steel City Con. Leave Dawn of the Dead back here. There's an Animal House Tim Matheson back here. And so there's a few from Steel City Con that are lining these walls and these walls over here. So yeah, but really I never truly went and decided I was going to start collecting autographs. So what I would really do with Steel City Con was get pictures. So I would do photo ops a lot. And if you watch some of my earlier videos with the celebrity slideshow and the other, things, I have a lot of different pictures with celebrities. Met a lot of people at thanks to Steel City Con. But unfortunately, don't really have autographs from too many of those people that I met just because I would just opt for the photo op. And to be honest, old habits died hard here because I did exactly that. And we'll start with photo op 1 right here. So that is the AEW Women's Champion, Britt Baker, DMD, Pittsburgh. A local product turned good. I've been a big fan of Britt Baker. I've wanted her to succeed, not just for the Pittsburgh connection, but I saw her early days in IWC, and, always thought she would be someone that would be great. Now, when they put her in AEW, she was a babyface character, and it really wasn't connecting. She was a little bit raw as a rookie. She wasn't one of these people that was like groomed, established people that were on TV every week. But when they decided to go heel with her character, I'll be honest, I wasn't sure if she'd be able to pull it off. She's terrific as a heel. Arguably one of my favorite heel wrestlers just in general. I'm a big fan of hers. And so when they said Britt Baker was going to be there, I'm like, oh, grab a picture of Britt Baker. Now, I know people pulled her autograph out of like the Pro Wrestling Tees box, I think it was, or something like that. And, I would happily pull it out there, and I was considering maybe getting that, but, they just opted for the picture here. just because I have limited space here. My wife, gets a bug sometimes where she's like, she doesn't want me to put stuff in like our main living area. So everything for the most part is kind of either down here or in our office. I'm going to kind of limit myself on, unless there's reasons to get an autograph. But when it comes to conventions, I just opt for the photo ops, and I did so with Britt Baker here. But I'm a big fan of hers. Now, the second person that I'm a big fan of that was at this con, and I kind of had a crossroads here, was Matthew Lillard. So Matthew Lillard from Scream, of course, a few other movies, 13 Ghosts, and Summer Catch, and Hackers, and I'm blanking on something. Finder's Fee. He's been in a lot of stuff. It's a lot of stuff that I enjoyed. So I was like, okay, I'll get him. And my son's a big Scooby-Doo fan, and that's his reason of why he would want to get him. So went up to Matthew Lillard, and I was like, where am I going to go? Autograph or picture, or just picture. Wasn't sure really what to do, because I figured it would go down a rabbit hole, because Skeet Ulrich was also there. And I figured if I got a Matthew Lillard autograph on a Scream item, then I'd probably also have to get a Skeet Ulrich signed item as like a package deal. But in this circumstance, Matthew Lillard's line was long. My kid was getting irritated. Remember this, as a pro tip, when you go to these Comic-Cons or whatever with a younger child, they need to be fed. Their patience level is at 0. And when people are going elbow to elbow, and there's quite a lot of people, he gets burned out rather quickly and just wants to leave. So that's kind of what hamstrung me here. But did get the picture with Matthew, and did opt for the for an autograph as well. But the autograph that I got was actually picked by my son. And my son picked something for him, which that's fine. Obviously he's building his collection. But it's a Scooby-Doo signed 8x10 that was at the table. He's a big fan of those movies. He's watched them quite a bit. And I was happy to get that for him. Matthew Lillard was really cool with the kids. One thing to note, if he comes to future Steel City cons, and I don't know if he'll do the same thing at other cons, but there was a pretty considerable line for Matthew Lillard. And when we walked up to it, the guy that was kind of like facilitating the line asked my son how old he was. And, my son was, gave him his age, and he's like, well, you're under 13. Matthew wants you in the VIP line for all kids under 13. So we circumvented the entire line just because he was under 13 years old. I thought that was a really cool thing that he did. And, really good with my son, really cool with me. Just like a fun guy to meet. So I would definitely recommend if he's at a local con or something like that. It's really nice to kids. I've never had a bad experience at a Steel City Con. I've always enjoyed my time there, but I like when people go the extra mile in one way or another. Other celebrities have done various other things that have been incredibly cool, but I really enjoyed Matthew Lillard's approach here for younger kids. So definitely consider that moving forward, and something that you should, if you see him, if you see, he's coming to a local con, I would say stop at his is awesome. Now, Steel City Con has this cool thing. It's in the back. I don't know if anybody else checks it out, but it's an autograph booth from past events. If you missed out on someone on previous cons and stuff like that, they usually will sell them their autographs. They signed extra items at a discount. And there's quite a few people that have been to Steel City Con, and quite a few autographs available at very good prices. Now, there was one person that arguably the most natural conversation I've ever had with a celebrity was actually at the last Steel City Con, which was December of 2019. And we talk, normally, and people that, not familiar with cons, you go there, you stand in line for a celebrity, you decide whether you're getting a signed picture or not, or a photo with them, you give the money, you go up there, you maybe ask them a question or chat for a moment, and you're on your way. Or I'm a big fan of yours, on your way. But this person, who's actually, it's Robert Patrick. I had the most natural, like if you were just a random guy at a, just started talking to you on the street, or you were at a bar, that's what we had, just a random conversation between two guys. I really enjoyed his vibe. I thought he was cool. So I said if they had a Robert Patrick autograph, that I was going to get it. And this one was on the table. Now it's 8x10. It's a bit smaller. But $30. Now he was charging, I think, $50 for an autograph. I did get a picture with him in 2019. But, that's a cool shot, like the Terminator 2 right there. And it comes with this Steel City, like, COA. But big fan of his, and hoping, he would, I'd like to get, like, a larger, like, Terminator 2 signed item, but that's a pretty cool one right there. I can't complain about that. Now, one other person that I felt, and there was a lot of people there that money was no object. I would have met a lot more people, but in the interest of people, that it was so busy, in the interest of time, in the interest of my son's irritation, where he wanted food and he wanted to leave, I had to kind of rush around for this last one here, but luckily it worked out, and it is actually Jon Lovitz. Now, Jon Lovitz, from the Adam Sandler movies to Saturday Night Live to Trapped in Paradise and A League of Their Own, and so many different movies and roles and things that he's been in, The Critic. So I was like, I gotta get a picture with Jon Lovitz. Now, I was tempted to get a Critic's signed item, and even, if he had wrote, like, It Stinks on there. But this was Jon Lovitz's first ever Comic-Con. And kudos for him, he actually had a nice line at the table. In fact, there are a lot of people there that had nice lines at the table. I didn't see any, hardly anybody. Usually in some, in Steel City Con, there's celebrities where their lines are just lengthy. And then there's other ones that their lines are, the people come up a time or two. And for the people that are, don't have as long of a line, they will spend more time with you, and they will, it depends on what you're going there for the experience for. If you're going there to chat it up with someone who's in a movie from your childhood, or somebody that's important to you, somebody with a shorter line will give you that more time than someone who's knocking stuff out, which ties into my big autograph of the con. But Jon Lovitz, I'm a big fan of his. I love anybody SNL, that's entertained me over the years, and movies and stuff like that. I had to get his stuff. Cool guy. Never, it's never one of those things where you feel like rushed. But at the same time, he has a line. He wants to keep things moving. So I understand that. But yeah, I had a, good time with him. We had a brief conversation. But very cool guy, and was happy to meet him. Happy to add to my giant, celebrity wall of people that I met. So, okay. Now, last but not least, the big get of the con here. And I kind of, pre-planned this one. I was looking for a item. I had met William Shatner in Wizard World, Pittsburgh, quite a few years ago. I want to say it was like 2013 or 2014. And I remember me and my dad met him, and we were basically like, this is probably like it. You know what I mean? There's no chance he's probably going to come back. So we figured that would, and I mean, he was an older guy then. William Shatner's 90 years old. He looks terrific. He, drank from that fountain of youth like Paul Rudd and Cindy Crawford and Christy Brinkley and Tom Cruise and a few of these others. People that drank from a cup where they haven't aged in like 30 years. The man's 90 years old. He looks like 60. So it's really wild. It's impressive to see, like, 90 years old, you're still doing these conventions. I've always been a big Shatner fan, and Shatner's one of those people that's like an international famous person. Like, not necessarily by his name, but like, if you go to any country and you hold up a Captain Kirk picture, a lot of times people know what that is, or they know him, or they know of him, or they know some role that he's done. He's been in so many different things. So I determined that I was going to get a Shatner signed item. And my dad has like a Shatner captain shirt from Star Trek, and of course Star Trek would be the thing that everyone would go to for that, but I didn't want to go that route. I wanted to go something different. And then I remember that Shatner, of course, was on arguably one of the most important TV series of all time from the 60s, but not Star Trek. I speak, of course, about The Twilight Zone. And William Shatner was in arguably one of the greatest episodes of The Twilight Zone ever, which is Nightmare at 20,000 Feet. Now, with Shatner, he's a person that was in The Twilight Zone. I mean, how many people that were in the original episode of The Twilight Zone are still alive? Can't be too many. Let alone somebody of William Shatner's caliber. So I went on Etsy. I was looking in different places to find it, and I came across this little ditty. This is a 12 by 18. It is an actual poster for the Twilight Zone Nightmare at 20,000 Feet. And it has that terrific Rod Serling introduction in its entirety on there.
Portrait of a frightened man. Mr. Robert Wilson, 37, husband, father, and salesman on sick leave. Mr. Wilson has just been discharged from a sanitarium, where he spent the last 6 months recovering from a nervous breakdown, the onset of which took place on an evening not dissimilar to this one, on an airliner very much like the one in which Mr. Wilson is about to be flown home. The difference being that on that evening, half a year ago, Mr. Wilson's flight was terminated by the onslaught of his mental breakdown. Tonight, he's traveling all the way to his appointed destination, which, contrary to Mr. Wilson's plan, happens to be in the darkest corner of the Twilight Zone.
Picture of Shatner and the monster in there. Now, unfortunately, a couple things occurred. One, now William Shatner had a big signature here, pretty good sized signature, but it looks like the paint pen was like starting to like fade out. So while it is great and will look good in the frame, the paint pen is not the best version of the paint pen, but it's still a giant signature, so I cannot gripe. Also, interestingly enough, when I was in line to get this, right as I walked up, so did John Lovitz. And Shatner and John Lovitz are talking, and think about two different personalities kind of standing right in front of you. It was almost like a show where Bill's like, "Hey John, how are you? Like, what are you doing? Like, how are you lifting? Oh, I'm playing tennis. I'm playing tennis to have, to get exercise." And, they're going, and it's so these are two humans that you almost want to watch like a play between them. Because it was like over the, he's like, are you still funny? And he's like, of course I'm funny. John Lovitz, like, acting, that thing there. And he's like, well, are you going back to your table to do autographs? He's like, no, I'm doing a Q&A. And he, like, saunters off. And I'm like, well, that was interesting. That's something you don't ever normally see. But, yeah, William Shatner had to get a Twilight Zone because think about, like I said, in the groundbreaking nature of the Twilight Zone. One of the greatest TV shows of all time. And one that inspired so much. I'm talking about thriller movies, scary movies, supernatural movies, supernatural TV. Anything from Black Mirror to The X-Files to just about everything has been inspired by this one episode of television and the pivotal TV series that it was a part of, which is The Twilight Zone. So I am thrilled to have this William Shatner piece here as part of my collection. I may try to find its way onto the wall here if I can get it to fit. But yeah, that is basically my my experience at Steel City Con, I was a big fan of this show. I was not necessarily a big fan of the fact that there were a lot of people there, because there were a lot of people there. Now, before I get into the final thoughts here, I did make a trade in an effort to attempt to get to Steel City, just raise some extra funds to kind of meet some other people for Steel City. I put up the Peter Weller from the Marco is Crazy box up for sale. And someone reached out who's not necessarily, they weren't looking for sale, they were looking for trade. And I had, as much as I wanted to basically raise money for Steel City, but I was like, okay, I'll make a trade with you. But he told me a story that he's collecting Batman items, and it was a Peter Weller Batman item. And I don't want to share his story, but I will tell you it was a very noble and compelling one, and a good reason as to why he was collecting these Batman items. So I was happy to make the trade with him, and he traded me something very awesome here. The trade that he made for the 8x10s Peter Weller are actually two 11x14s. And one is Rob Schneider. And that's from, what is that from? Is that 50 First Dates, Rob Schneider? And the other one is from one of my favorite SNL skits of all time. Now, this person that signed this did not have a giant role other than maybe like one or two lines in this, but it is David Spade, who I'm a giant fan of, signed from the Matt Foley Living in His Van Down by the River sketch. So that's awesome. They're both 11x14, and the guy did, look, to be fair, he did overpay for this, but he was really, like I said, he has a quest to collect all of the Batman items. And I couldn't resist making a trade with him. They are both Beckett certified. I think they came from one of the BAM boxes as well. Wow. He did say that he was going to send over a special Joker item, and this looks like selections from the motion picture soundtrack, a BAM exclusive release, DC Batman The Killing Joke. Very cool. So thank you so much, Dale, for the awesome trade for that. A trade I could not refuse, and I greatly appreciate it. And I hope that Batman has treated you well. He has let me know that it arrived safely, and it arrived with no issues. So thank you so much for the awesome trade. Now, lastly, on Steel City Con, August 13th through 15th, they already have quite a lineup here. So you got, so far announced, Carl Weathers, John Barenthal, Robert Englund, who's gotta be a must get. Stephen Ogg, is Trevor from GTA 5, who I may consider getting. Ken Gersinger, who was Jason from Freddy vs. Jason. Amanda Weiss, who is from Nightmare on Elm Street, the original. Kurt Angle, I've actually already met Kurt Angle. He was a Steel City Con in the past. Brecken Meyer, big road trip fan, among others. Michael Beck, I'm not sure who that is. Catherine Tate was in The Office and some other stuff. Will Wheaton, Stand By Me, Star Trek The Next Generation. Tom Arnold, who's in, True Lies. And he's been in a lot of stuff. The Stupids, even though that movie is so stupid. Dennis Lawson, who's, I think he's a Star Wars, he's one of the Star Wars guys I'm blanking on. I'm not super big into Star Wars, but I'm sorry. And John Carroll Lynch, who was Twisty the Clown, Drew Carey's brother on the Drew Carey Show, and he's been in tons of stuff. But the thing with Steel City, many more guests to be announced, and they put out some guests. So I love Steel City. They always bring it with the guests. I'm just concerned that they are outgrowing the Monroeville Convention Center. Like, that convention center was busting at the seams today. So for Steel City, I'm a big fan. I will be there at the next one. I hope to see you there. But guys, thank you so much for watching. If you are new here, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. If you'd like to support me on Patreon like John Bailey did, you can do so. The link is in the description below. If you'd like to buy a t-shirt, you can do so on Spreadshirt Shop, as well as links to my eBay store, new Facebook page, Instagram, and Clubhouse. But that'll wrap it up for Steel City Con, June 2021. Thank you so much for watching, and until the next video, I will see you soon. But until then, bye everyone.